It's my distinct privilege and pleasure to introduce to you our commencement speaker, Sheriff Carolyn Bunny Welsh. Sheriff Welsh is the first woman to be elected Sheriff of Chester County, Pennsylvania. She has served in this role since January 2000 and is one of only 38 female sheriffs in the nation. In July 2009, Sheriff Welsh was sworn in as president of the Pennsylvania Sheriff's Association. And this is the first time in the 88-year history of the association that a woman has been elected to the top leadership position. In January 2011, she was elected to the board of the National Sheriff's Association, which oversees more than 3,000 sheriffs across the nation. Sheriff Welsh is presently the treasurer of the Republican Party of Pennsylvania and serves as a commissioner on the Pennsylvania Commission for Women. Among her many accomplishments, Sheriff Welsh is also the mother of 4 and a grandmother of 9, and also serves on our board of directors for Pennsylvania Leadership Charter School. Please welcome to our podium our good friend and supporter, Sheriff Bunny Welsh.
Thank you, Dr. Hannock. And thank you, Board of Directors, faculty, and staff. And welcome to the families and friends who have gathered here today to witness and celebrate this wonderful occasion. And a huge congratulations to the Pennsylvania Leadership Charter School, class of 2014. You did it! What a privilege it is to be with all of you today. What an honor to share in this very special ceremony with the graduates and their friends and families. Look around. This room is filled with joy, pride, and love as we all share in this grand recognition and celebration of your accomplishments. Graduates, today is all about you. And what a great day to graduate, Flag Day. As we honor the stars and stripes and the greatest symbol of freedom in the world today, we honor you. I'm the Sheriff of Chester County. It's a county with a population of 500,000 people. I have jurisdiction over the entire county. There are 73 municipalities, and there's one little township called Nottingham. So for those of you familiar with the story of Robin Hood, I am the Sheriff of Nottingham. Upon my retirement, my book will be called The Real Sheriff of Nottingham Wore High Heels. The history of the sheriff is long and noble. Sheriffs were originally appointed by the king as reeves of the shire to collect the taxes and keep the peace. The sheriff always had great power and authority. If you watch any Western movies, you will see the sheriff gather up the able-bodied citizens and deputize them as a posse to help round up the bad guys. Graduates, remember that thought. Law enforcement, like the military, can do 3 things not done by other professions. You can give your life, you can save a life, and you can take a life. It's an awesome and serious responsibility. When I was asked to speak to you today, I was honored, of course, but I realized not only did I not remember who spoke at my high school graduation, I had no clue what they said. I thought about what I could share with you today in a few moments that you might remember. I decided to keep it very simple and give you 3 short lessons from the sheriff, and I promise, if you pay attention, I will have something special for you at the end of my remarks. My lessons are as simple as ABC. A is for attitude. No matter what you do or where your path may lead you, your attitude makes a difference. A good attitude can diffuse the worst situation. Several years ago, I had 2 deputies who went to a home for an eviction. Unknown to them, the owner had barricaded himself in the house with 26 loaded weapons, and he opened fire. Both deputies were shot. It was one of the darkest days in my time as sheriff. The news of the shootings was all over the internet and newspapers nationally. Photos of one of my wounded deputies being airlifted from the scene were headline stories throughout Pennsylvania. A few months later, I received a letter from a prisoner who was serving a long term in a state prison on the other side of the Commonwealth. He had seen the news of the shootings, and he wanted to write to me personally and send his thoughts and prayers to the wounded deputies, especially one in particular, Deputy Boyd. You see, Deputy Boyd had been assigned to transport this prisoner several years before, after he received a sentence from Chester County to a state correctional facility in the western part of the state. It was a blistering hot day, and needless to say for him, it was a long and sad drive. He knew this would be the last time he would be outside in the free world before he was locked deep in a prison for many years. At one point in the trip, the two transporting deputies pulled into an ice cream stand. They each got a soft ice cream, and Deputy Boyd bought an extra cone and gave it to the prisoner in the back. In his letter, he said he relished every bite as he ate it in handcuffs. He said it was a beautiful act of kindness that he will never forget. He went on to say it changed his attitude for the rest of the trip, and he wanted Deputy Boyd to know it is something he will remember forever, and to know that he was praying for his recovery. Fortunately, both deputies did survive and eventually recovered. You'd be surprised that even the hardest of criminals and the worst offenders most times will respond to a positive and respectful attitude. You and only you are in charge of your attitude. Keep it positive, but sometimes you can affect the attitude of others. Maybe it just takes a simple act of kindness or an ice cream cone. B is for brand. Everything has a brand, from toothpaste to computers. Millions of dollars are spent in advertising to create brands and to market them. You too have a brand. You create your own brand. How do you see yourself? How do you show yourself to others? How do you present yourself on social media like Facebook? When we consider applications for the job of deputy sheriff, we first complete the initial investigation and criminal background check. Then we bring the applicant into the office for an interview. I meet with them and then refer them to our review board. The board is made up of deputies and supervisors who conduct formal interviews. During the process, the supervising deputy will often ask the applicant to log onto the computer and bring up their Facebook page. It is displayed on a very large screen in the room. That page speaks volumes. It reflects their brand and how they are seen by others. In this world of social media, the things you say and the things you post tell your story, and these posts and comments last forever. So be careful of your brand. You and only you create it. It has been said that God gives us the bracelet of life, but we put on the charms. And C is for choice, and choices have consequences. I work every day in a building called the Justice Center. People's lives change there. Good things happen, like weddings, adoptions, and naturalization ceremonies for new citizens. Other things happen too. People can lose their fortune in a civil court. They can lose their family in a domestic court, and they can lose their freedom in a criminal court. There's one thing in common in many of these courtrooms: somewhere a decision or choice was made. Some good, some not so good, but that courtroom has a judge and maybe a jury who will determine the consequences of those choices. I cannot tell you how many times both juveniles and adults wish they had made a different choice. Often they're not bad people, they just made a bad decision. Now that you're graduating and moving on in your personal journey, you will be making a lot of choices. Many of you will continue to rely on your family, your teachers, and those who have mentored you along the way. They have wisdom and will help direct you with their life experiences. They're a sounding board and a safe place to turn when making choices and tough decisions. I have a strong personal faith in the Lord. I was raised in a Christian home and learned at a very young age the power of prayer and asking for guidance. Remember, however, when you pray, the answer is not always what you expect or even what you want. I've learned that sometimes you just have to pray for the Lord's will and get out of the way. And finally, trust your own intuition. We've all heard, "I knew it was wrong, I did it anyway." Well, if you think it might be wrong or if you have doubts, don't do it. Trust your own instincts. In the sheriff's office, we call it a gut check. If you think it does not feel right or you may not be a good idea, even if you're being pressured, do a gut check. You will know the right thing to do. And so, graduates, they're my lessons for today. A, keep your attitude positive for you and others. Sometimes you just need to buy an ice cream cone. B, protect your brand. Remember, you create it. So hang beautiful charms on your bracelet of life. And remember, C, choices have consequences. Life is made up of a series of choices. Trust your mentors, pray for guidance, and always do a gut check. And now, I promised, I do have something special for all of you, because as sheriff, I have the power and authority to deputize the posse. I'm going to swear each of you in as an honorary deputy sheriff. I want to have all the graduates stand while I administer the oath of office. Better not applaud, they may go home and arrest you. All right, you're going to hold up your right hand. This is the constitutional oath, and you will repeat after me. I. Now your name. Your name. Do solemnly swear. To support, obey, and defend. The Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of this Commonwealth. And to discharge the duties of honorary deputy sheriff with fidelity. So help me God. I salute you, posse. You may sit down. Now, they will probably be stopping cars and doing all kinds of things on the way home. I will have to let my fellow sheriffs know in other jurisdictions that they're on the loose. When you go home tonight, though, and you're in the quiet of your room, thank God for the blessings bestowed upon all of us. Thank Him you live in the greatest country on earth. And if along your journey, all of you, our paths should cross again, please remind me that we shared this day, this hour, and this moment. Thank you, and God bless you.